I am not teaching, I'm publicly learning. But hi and welcome to Learning for the Life in the UK test part 1, the values and principles of the UK, while doing leg injury prevention training. It's an unusual approach to learn while doing physical exercises, but it is a very intentional approach. You are invited to join into the physical exercises, but if you're doing the physical exercises alone, that is at your own risk. So let's start with the first thing to Life in the UK test, the values and principles of the UK. This is used based on fair use and for educational purposes. The values and principles of the UK. British society is founded on fundamental values and principles which all those living in the UK should respect and support. So the whole society of the people living in the United Kingdom, in Britain, all their life is based on values and principles, so what they live after, and all should respect them and support them also. These values are reflected in the responsibilities, rights and privileges of being a British citizen or permanent resident of the UK. So there are responsibilities, that means that people have to do something, but there are also rights. People have rights in the UK, that certain rights, we're coming to that, certainly, and privileges, that is even more than just a right. They are based on history and tradition and are protected by law, customs and expectations. So Great Britain has a history, and these values and principles after which the people in Great Britain are living are coming from the history of Great Britain and the traditions of Great Britain. And also because protected by law, so there are laws written down which protect these values and principles of the British people, and also customs and expectations. There is no place in British society for extremism and intolerance. So that means no totally extreme views should not be there, and intolerance, so everyone should be tolerated. The fundamental principles of British life include, we're coming to that in a moment, but first we're starting with the first exercise, just a little warm-up exercise. We are breathing in and going down, and we're breathing out again. And breathe in, and out. Again in, and the last time out. We're closing the legs, and we can start with a leg injury prevention training. So we're having a standing leg, and the other leg is with a flexed foot in the air, and we're swinging it over and to the side. So this training is, as the title is, specified on preventing leg injuries. So we are training the stability of the leg and all. So this is quite a good exercise for the standing leg. We're changing the leg already. The same thing with the other leg, flexed foot, swinging it to the side. It's quite a good exercise for the standing leg because it has all the time to balance against what the best leg is doing. So if you're doing a strong step while running or something, that leg knows how to work. The ankle is working, the knees are working, the hip is working, everything. And that was the exercise. Now back to the Life in the UK test, the values and principles of the UK. Let's read just the first thing again. British society is founded on fundamental values and principles, which all those living in the UK should respect and support. These values are reflected in the responsibilities, rights and privileges of being a British citizen or permanent resident of the UK. They are based on history and traditions and are protected by law, customs and expectations. There is no place in British society for extremism or intolerance. Now, the fundamental principles of British life include, the first thing is democracy. Democracy means that people can vote for the leader. We're going on with the next exercise. We don't have so much time left. We want to go through in a quarter hour. So now we're having a standing leg. The other leg is again with a flexed foot in the air. And we're bringing it in the front. We're bringing that leg in front and back, in front and back. And again, it's pretty similar as the exercise we're changing the leg before, which we had. Again, has the standing leg a lot to work against imbalances. The ankle has a lot to work, the knee, all the stress which would come onto the leg if it's a wrong step has to be transported good through the whole leg, so that not just the ankle falls over, but that the whole leg is stable. So the first thing of the fundamental principles of British life is democracy, so that people can vote for the leader. and the rule of law. That means that there's a law, but we're coming to it later. I'm not so completely sure what it means, because that's an important part of the life in the UK test. Rule of law means that there are laws which should be respected by everyone. Something like that. But we're coming to it. Individual liberty. That means that people, individuals have liberties. And tolerance of those with different faiths and beliefs. Let's do the first three and then do the next exercise. So democracy, that means voting for the leaders. The rule of law, that the law says what is done and that people are living in accordance to the legal law. And individual liberty, that all the individuals of the British society, so the people living in Great Britain, have rights, have liberties and rights also. And the next exercise, now we're bringing the leg up. The leg has a right angle and a flexed foot, and we're having even aligned hips and a tall up and straight back. And we're bringing the leg to the outside, and we're breathing in. And we're breathing out, bringing the leg back into the middle, and contract down. And we're doing that again with the leg up, right angle, flexed foot, even aligned hips, tall up with the back. The leg to the outside, we're breathing in. And out, back, leg back into the middle. Now with the other leg. The leg up, right angle with the leg, flexed foot, even aligned hips, tall up with the back. The leg to the outside, we're breathing in. And out, leg back into the middle, and control down. And again, the leg up, right angle, flexed foot, even aligned hips, tall up with the back. Leg to the outside, we're breathing in. And out, leg back. So, democracy is one of the fundamental principles of British life, the rule of law, and the liberty of individuals. And then tolerance of those with different faiths and beliefs. That's, for example, for religion, that people can believe in different religions. A person in Great Britain can believe in the religion of Islam or the religion of Christianity, and both are tolerated. And also other beliefs. Participation in community life. There's no real explanation, I guess, but all living by laws and are living together and trying to support a world union should respect and support the values and principles of the UK. Participation in community life. So these are the 5 things listed here. As part of a citizenship ceremony, new citizens pledge to uphold these values. The pledge is, so we're coming to the pledge after the next exercise. Again, the leg up, right angle with the leg, flexed foot, even aligned hips, tall up with the back. Now we're pressing with the hand against the inside of a knee. Tall up with the back, even aligned hips. Press a little and have a little bend in the elbow. And we're changing to the other leg. Right angle with the leg, flexed foot, even aligned hips, tall up with the back and a little bend in the elbow. And directly onto the very similar exercise. Same setup, but now the knee presses up into the hand, into the side, up to the side, up to the side. We're tall up with the back and we're having even aligned hips. And the knee presses up to the side, up to the side. Now with the other leg. Tall up with the back, even aligned hips, and the knee presses to the side and up to the side and up to the side and up. Tall up with the back, even aligned hips. Now to the pledge. And a little, the introduction again. As part of a citizenship ceremony, new citizens pledge to uphold these values. The pledge is, I will give my loyalty to the United Kingdom and respect its rights and freedoms. I will uphold its democratic values. I will observe its laws faithfully and fulfill my duties and obligations as a British citizen. That is the pledge. Let's go a bit on. Following from the fundamental principles are responsibilities and freedoms. So the fundamentals of British life are democracy, the rule of law, individual liberty, tolerance of those with different faiths and beliefs, and participation in community life. But there are also now responsibilities and freedoms, which are shared by all those living in the UK, and which we expect all residents to respect. So everyone in the UK should not only live by the fundamentals, values and principles of UK, democracy, the rule of law, individual liberty, tolerance of those with different faiths and beliefs, participation in community life, but also, if you wish to be a permanent resident or citizen of UK, you should respect and obey the law. So there are laws in Great Britain, and they should be respected and obeyed. Obeyed means to live by them, to actually follow them. Respect and obey the law. Respect the rights of others, including their right to their own opinions. So that people have rights in the UK, but that people also respect the rights of other people in the UK. And that other people have their own opinions and they have the right to them, and that they should be respected, the opinion of another person. Treat others with fairness, so that other people are treated fairly, not mean or something, but fairly, with fairness. Look after yourself and your family, after that we go on. So people are taking care of themselves and also of their family, and their loved ones, their family. Then the next exercise, we're having now a standing leg, which points with the toes to the outside, and we're bringing the other leg, the heel, onto the ground. And now we're lifting that heel off the ground and again onto the ground, and that whole movement comes from the hips or the gluteus medius muscle, and that is the muscle which we don't want to overwork, so don't do too many of this. Maybe you're already with 5 completely done with this exercise. You can do 10 or 20, I'm going to do around 20, but maybe 5 are completely okay for you. And all these exercises, again, are completely at your own risk if you do them. And I haven't counted, let's do 3 more. And now with the other leg, the toes are pointing to the outside of the standing leg, the other leg is with the heel on the ground, lifting it off the ground and placing it again on the ground. And these are not 20, but let's do 3 last one. And now back to the rights and responsibilities of the people living in Great Britain. Look after yourself and your family. Look after the area in which you live and the environment. In return, the UK, okay. Look after the area in which you live and the environment. So keep the environment clean and look that people are living as happily as possible. In return, the UK offers freedom of belief and religion, so that people can believe what they want and also that they can have the religion which they want. That they have freedom of speech, so that they can talk. They have the right to their own opinion, and they have also the right to express this opinion. Freedom from unfair discrimination, so that they are not treated differently, so that they are not unfair discriminated. A right to a fair trial, so if there's a question if someone has broken the law or not, that they have a right for a fair, undiscriminated trial in court, and not that they're discriminated or something, but they have a right, the legal right to have a legal, fair process before law, at a court, before law, before a court of justice, something like that. A right to a fair trial, a right to join in the election of a government. A right to join in the election of a government. So that is democracy, that people vote for the government. I'm not completely sure if join in the election of a government means that they can be voted, so that people can vote for them, that they can become politicians and go into parliament or into the government, or that they can vote with. But that means, let's just take the words here, a right to join in the election of a government. So government can be elected. That's democracy, so that the whole people of Great Britain voting for who should lead them politically in the government. The last exercise, let's skip this exercise, I don't have enough time left. The closing exercise, the one we did at the beginning. We're breathing out, and now we're breathing in. And out. Last time, breathe in. And out. I'll breathe in and close the legs. And we're done with a leg injury prevention training. Let's go through what we had here. So life in the UK test. The values and principles of the UK. British society is founded on fundamental values and principles which all those living in the UK should respect and support. These values are reflected in the responsibilities, rights and privileges of being a British citizen or permanent resident of the UK. They are based on history and tradition and are protected by law, customs and expectations. There is no place in British society for extremism or intolerance. The fundamental principles of British life include democracy, the rule of law, individual liberty, tolerance of those with different faiths and beliefs, participation in community life. And some responsibilities and freedoms. Respect and obey the law. Respect the rights of others, including their right to their own opinions. Treat others with fairness. Look after yourself and your family. Look after the area in which you live and the environment. And then freedom of belief and religion in the UK, freedom of speech, freedom from unfair discrimination, a right to a fair trial, a right to join in the election of a government. This is the end. I thank you very much, and until next time.